The first item that I just wanted to notice is because I have questions on. I noticed that our general channel was locked. Is it locked for everyone, or is it just locked for me?
Buddha did some editing there this morning because we had another user who said that they were getting unwelcome notifications. And so he did some editing about an hour ago. I can ping him now and ask him to check on that.
Yep, I just wanted to make sure that something didn't happen, or if it was an issue that we were all experiencing. Just wanted to get the answer on that. But as long as you know what's going on, and can update the group whenever it's ready or whatever changes, like that's important. That's all that's needed. Two, Superfizz had some new members. He was, I think he had posted in the general channel, so I don't know if we can pull up exactly what he posted, but maybe you can go over the couple or few new members that you thought would be good additions to the group.
Sure, I'm happy to do that. Let me find those messages really quick. This is where Boomer me gets lost in all of these threads. Okay, all right, there we go. So in order of reference, Matterhorn is someone who has been contributing for nearly a year. I do not know him personally, but he's very worth pulling up his profile and finding that he is a excellent and able-minded contributor. He is the one that I brought up first. The second one would be Phil.eth. Phil is just becoming more involved in our community, but he has a very long history with Ethereum. He was an original miner on the Olympic testnet way back in the day. Colin, I don't know if you want to speak more directly about him. I only know him as a friend. You may know him professionally.
Yeah, I've actually only interacted with him professionally, and it's been a good experience. He was brought in by DeepWork Studio as an outside contributor to help us build the ETH2 launchpad. So he was part of the design process. He was part of the research process, and then obviously he's very involved in ETH2, individually. He definitely knows what's going on. So I would definitely vouch for him, as I've only worked with him from a professional perspective, and it's been a great experience, and it's been all ETH2 based. So if he wanted to be on board, I think he'd be a great addition.
And the third person is JCon93. Again, a contributor since at least April, I believe. He has a background in finance, and he has what I would call a very good perspective on the things that we're doing. He's a very heavy contributor in the Discord, and I think he would be also a great asset. And that kind of goes to the thing that if we acknowledge, there are 6 of us here today, or 7, I guess, and I know that it ebbs and it flows, but we do have some kind of vested interest in making sure that we have vibrant participation.
Agreed. Does anyone have any qualms with allowing those 3 people to join? Awesome. So thumbs up. I'm in. Totally cool. Now, I think the next step, Superfizz, would be, if they're not part of the Discord, we should work on adding them to the Discord. And then either you can provide me their Discord names and I'll reach out to them in order to get their email, or we can just get their emails and add them to the list so they're on future invites.
Okay, I will advise them that they've been included, get them added to the Discord, and we can take emails from there.
Perfect. Awesome. So next item, unless anyone wants to talk about anything regarding new members, would be the staking pool evaluation discussion. This is probably going to be the meat of our meeting. In fact, this will be the meat of our meeting. So is everyone ready to kind of dive into here?
Yep.
Awesome. So does everyone have the Excel sheet pulled up from the staking pool evaluation channel?
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I suggest. Hopefully you've all reviewed it already. What I suggest is we go through these one by one, go through all their answers, and sort of just discuss what we think after each one we go through. For example, we'll go through block staking, we'll go through their answers, and then we'll discuss internally, do we think this should be a red, yellow, green, right? Then after we get to that discussion, maybe someone had more passionate input trying to justify their answer. I would then suggest that the person who is most passionate about why it should be red, yellow, green, write up a quick summary of our discussion that could then be posted somewhere online, which goes into the reasoning that we utilize for why we are rating it red, yellow, green. What do you guys think about that process?
I think that sounds good. I do have a question, and after I ask it, if it's too early, let's just keep pumping. But the question I have is, so like question number one, and I kind of have some questions about how we're going to format this. So, are you confident that you are adhering to all the necessary regulations for the jurisdiction you are in? That's not a very standardized question and answer. The way that we've done that in the past is that it's kind of a binary question. It's do you use internal and external counsel? And then it's kind of it's a ranking of this company has internal and external, this company only uses external. So that could be one way to kind of standardize it. And then it would be, the formatting would be internal, external, only external. And that could give people a gauge of like legal capacity instead of kind of these long, non-standardized answers. So just one thing to think about. And in addition, like question number two, this could be categorized as non-custodial, semi-custodial, fully custodial, and then with a specific breakout of each provider. So as I was going through the answers, I just kind of was curious about visually, we're going to give them red light, green light, yellow light. But I think standardizing the questions a little bit more now that we've gotten answers may be helpful for everyone.
Yeah, I think this is a good point. Before we move on, is anyone taking notes at this point?
I can take notes.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
So if I can clarify, I think Michael is recording. And as we discussed with Terrence is such a valuable contributor that we could take notes anytime afterwards as long as we have a recording.
Yeah, I can do that after
okay.
as well. It's not big deal.
Yeah. So whoever wants, I'm happy to go through afterwards once I have the video. So just for me, and I'm saying this really for myself, like action items like the one that Colin just brought up, which is like language changes, just notice and keep track of all these language changes so we can then update the questionnaire that's sent out. Since we don't have everyone right now, maybe we ask the previous answers if we don't get a satisfactory answer that can answer that new worded question. Maybe we ask them to answer it again, and then we use that for future kind of staking pools for their answers.
Right. I think what's important is to capture the action item versus the meeting notes, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Awesome. So is everyone ready to kind of go start with block staking and move through? So how would you guys like to proceed? Would you like us to kind of go around in a circle and read out the answers, like alternating that way? Do you guys want to, take about a minute to read the first one and then come back and discuss?
I feel like if we're actually giving due diligence, then we look together at the answer to every question. It's more of an actual look than a gloss. So if we did it popcorn style reading, and kind of what I'm planning to do is on my own sheet, I'm going to highlight every answer as a red, green, or yellow. So that will help me get a bigger sense for the whole picture of an organization.
Are we able to do a screen share of that so we can actually go through that together as a?
Yeah, I was like, I didn't mean responsibility. Yeah, sure. I'll see if I can screen share.
You guys
Awesome.
see permission, I can share the Google form.
I'm not opposed because there are so many. Uh,
Uh,
here. But I'm still learning how to share my screen.
I've got the Google form answers, which is formatted nicely.
Okay, that's fine. Go ahead if you're game.
But it says my browser can't share my screen. So maybe I can't. I don't know. It's grayed out now.
Huh. Do you want to allow me to see it and then I'll try presenting? I don't know if it'll work though.
How do I do that?
Listen, if it sounds like it's gonna be too complicated. So what I've done is I've pulled up the Excel sheet that was posted this morning by York. It's not, you still have to open up each. You have to expand the different cells, but once you expand them, you can effectively scroll from left to right, and we can kind of go through cell by cell that way. So if everyone has those open, what I kind of suggest is we have one person reading them while we're each following along individually. Yep, that works as well. This works as well.
Is my screen shared? I was trying to poke around at it.
Yep, your screen is being shared, which is great.
Okay.
So, is everyone cool with me now just reading through block staking? I'll take the first one, and then I suggest we go in a circle. And then, do you guys want to have a discussion after every answer, after every question, or do you just want to discuss at the end?
I think
should
we
probably
just discuss at the end.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. All right. So, which staking pool do these answers come from? Block staking. What country is your business based out of? Israel. Are you confident that you are adhering to all the necessary regulations for the jurisdiction you are in? We have the leading crypto lawyers working with us. No specific regulation we need to adhere for staking, as we do not hold any funds. How much control do you have over users' funds? Do you hold 0, 1, or 2 keys? None?
I don't know if that's. So I've been working with the blocks team. So sorry, we'll just talk about this at the end. I apologize. I don't want to distract.
Yep, no problem. Do you have any insurance in case funds are lost, other than the usual liability in director's insurance? No, we do not hold funds. What is your company's history in the cryptocurrency space? Excuse me. We've begun in 2017 developing a crypto tracking app, which evolved into a full-blown enterprise crypto dashboard and accounting platform, serving the biggest names in the industry: eToro, DCG, Crypto.com, Ethereum Foundation, and more. As part of the project, we got a lot of experience in running robust infrastructure for around 15 blockchains that gave us the head start in building block staking, as a lot of the work is making sure the infrastructure is robust and stable. So give me 2 seconds here. Who are your team members and what are their academic and professional backgrounds? I'm Alon, a developer in the blockchain space since 2013. I've contributed code to Bitcoin, Ethereum, worked on the early Ethereum project in 2014 to 2015. Developed a multi-sig wallet named Bitcoin Authenticator, and then Blocks. My partner, Adam, has been in the space for years now. He joined me at Blocks in 2017. Before that, he worked in finance in one of the biggest banks in China and opened up the eToro offices in Shanghai. The rest of our team, all in all, about 20 people, has been working at Blocks for 2.5 years. Most are very involved in the crypto industry. Describe your staking setup. Do you have your own servers? If no, which hosting providers are you using? Which clients are you using? How many nodes are you using? Do you have some sort of redundancy built in, etc.? I think best description is on our website. We're being audited by least authority, which has also audited the phase 0 spec. If you're using smart contracts, have they been audited by whom? Not yet. For the payments available after the mainnet, we'll have a simple proxy contract, which will go through an audit by least authority. Who is invested in your business? Is there venture capital? Is there a token? If there is a token, what is it used for? We have a couple investors. The biggest one is eToro. The rest are private angel investors. We have a token named CDT. How much are you charging for your staking services? We are still discussing it internally. We'll probably know in 1 to 2 weeks. We'll update. All right, that concludes block staking. So, Colin, I think you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I guess so. So Blocks is working on like a few different things, and I guess the way that I've interpreted it is they have a longer term vision for trustless pools, which is why they're helping us out with the SSV effort. But today, you know, their answer that they've given that says that they don't control any funds, any keys. I think that's confusing because the way I've interpreted their solution is, you know, they're running all the nodes themselves for people and until they can get to a better pooled status. So when I saw that answer, I didn't feel as if that was true, because I don't believe that users are running nodes on Blocks and staking if there's no reason for them to do so. So the way I've interpreted Blocks today is that they run the nodes and then people deposit with them. So in the future, they may hold no keys, but today I'm pretty sure that they hold the validator keys. So I found that one to be a little confusing.
I would push back on that a bit. My understanding is that they have a remote key signer program that users have to run, and it's like a very simple program that fits into the Amazon free tier, and that program there is what holds the validator keys, and that's on the user side.
It's on the user,
that program
So
there dials out to one of their nodes.
Fair. Okay, so that's the desktop app then.
No,
which
the desktop app is just for actually making the deposits.
Okay.
Then they have a remote key store app that's also separate.
Okay, so when users stake with Blocks, they also must provide their own resources at the same time.
Yes.
Okay, so that's true then. Okay. Why would anyone, stake on Blocks then? I guess for the remote signer and potentially the desktop app, but okay. That's aside from the point. Okay, I'm comfortable. Thanks, Nolan.
Does anyone else have any thoughts about block staking?
How do you, but you can't offer pooled solutions then, right? So it's not a pooled solution.
I don't think it is, no.
Do we know whether this product is live and has users?
It went live yesterday, actually, or on Monday. Sorry, for early bird stakers, it went live on Monday.
I'm also under the impression that it's for full stakes of 32 Ether.
Does it make sense? And if this is not the appropriate time, we don't need to discuss it. But does it make sense to ask these companies to provide some validator indexes for us to monitor their performance?
That would be really cool, actually.
I had suggested, as we're looking at the spreadsheet, would it be beneficial to red, green, or yellow the questions so that we have some point of reference for each one, because it can quickly become overwhelming to look at these and not really know. So, Madison, I'll let you guide if you want to do that, and if it does work, then I'm happy to highlight here so that we can have a visual reference.
Nope. But does everyone agree with that path forward? I think we just tried to go through all at once. I think it's a lot of information to go through. So I 100% agree with Superphys's suggestion of going question by question, red light, green light, yellow light. Is everyone down?
And I think it was good to do an overview, because we have to know kind of what we're getting into with each one. But then we can break it down a little more too.
100%. So let's just start with the first question. What country is your business based out of? Unless, I don't see how this is not going to be a green, but you tell me. I don't think that's the real big evaluation question.
I think that this is an interesting. I think it's a very important question. I think more important than this question, it's leading to another question, which is we should potentially provide their terms of use to users, so they can easily access it. So I would say for blocks, in my eyes, this is a green light. I would love to know the external counsel and who they are that they're working with. I spent a lot of time in regulation, and I don't believe that there's no regulation that they need to adhere to. That's not really how it works. But if they're using outside counsel, that's the best they can do. But I think offering users the terms of use for them to easily read and access is probably like the additional point that would be needed to make this section robust. And if they don't provide a terms of use, then maybe it's a yellow. But I think that's the more important point here.
Agreed. So terms of use would turn it potentially green, but until then, yellow. Does everyone agree with that?
I mean, if they don't have a terms of use, then they legally shouldn't be doing business. It's blockchain, so people do it without terms of use. But if we do really want to give someone a green on this category, I think the candle on the cake, if you will, is going to have to be a terms of use that we can provide to people.
Agreed. So the next question is, how much controls do you have over users' funds? Do you hold 0, 1, or 2 keys? And the answer is none.
As we discussed, that's true for them. But again, is this a pooling list? Because if it is, then we're talking about their pooling solution, then it's not none, and there is no pooling solution yet. So maybe we discuss how this looks for blocks, and if blocks is included in this initial list, because they have a couple different products. They have the self-staking, which we just talked about with the remote signer, and then they're want to move into pooling. So I would just be curious as to what people think about this answer from them, because this list is supposed to be 32 and under, and if this solution to the keys doesn't tie to that product, then we're kind of misleading users.
Good point.
Should we identify here that we're actually evaluating their remote signer tool and not, because these seem to be the answers seem to be specific to the remote signing tool and not to a pool for less than 32 ether. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, we can be specific. I mean, because blocks has multiple products. Attestant has multiple products, and so does Staked. So yeah, I think that if we were to go back to them, we would say, we agree with all these answers, but this sounds like the remote signer product, and what we're looking for is your pooling product, which doesn't exist. So maybe they're left off the list, which I wouldn't want to do. But I think that's kind of still this answer here is a bit misleading without being more specific from our side.
All right. So do you guys want to just stop evaluating block staking now and move to the others, since those are actual staking pools?
I mean, I don't think we need to limit ourselves to just pools. I mean, we have the answers. I think we have an understanding what blocks is. I mean, the next one's a testing, which isn't really a pool either. I think we have the resources available to just go through these 9 companies right now.
Would everyone agree?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm aligned.
I also agree. Awesome. So let's move on to the next. Do you have any insurance in case funds are lost?
Again, this ties to the terms of use. We can give a yes or no answer as kind of a binary output, and then it should be supplemented by the terms of use because all this language for the user should be in there.
Yep. So if it ties to the terms of use, you would suggest it be yellow, right?
If they have a terms of, so similar to the first question, like terms of use gets both of these people a green light.
Mm-hmm.
If they give an answer and they don't provide a legal proof, then it's yellow. If they provide legal proof that matches, then it should be green. I kind of find this to be more documentation based and like legal agreement based to the user. Like you can say that you do something, but if you have a legal agreement to back it up, then you should be green lighted.
Mm-hmm. Kirk and York, thanks for joining. Just to make sure that we're all on the same page. York, we're actually, I'm at least, you have Superfizz that's going through the different answers. And we read through all the answers once, and now we're going through them one by one. And red light, green light, yellow lighting them. I have the document pulled up on my computer in addition to Superfizz having it up, which makes it more convenient. Might be more convenient for you as well to also have it on your own screen. And we're just going through those answers one by one.
Right. Yeah, so I'm seeing what you're doing there with blocks. We do not hold funds. That's true. They don't. At least not currently.
That's right. And we're actually, so we're on the question now, what is your company's history in the cryptocurrency space? So, you know, what do you guys think about this? What do you think about their experience? Do you think that is deserving of a red light, green light, yellow light?
On our community call with Alan, he seemed very competent and knowledgeable. I think it's fair to say he's not some fly-by-night scammer that's worked something up. It's clear that he's an expert, and I think it reflected well on block staking to have him on that call.
Awesome. So we think that this is green because they have good experience.
Agreed.
Awesome. So who are your team? Unless anyone disagrees. And by the way, there's a lot of these answers, so I'm going to try to keep moving. But if you do disagree at any time, please just like interrupt me. So who are your team members and what are their academic and professional backgrounds? Similar to the previous question, I would say that, especially based on what Nolan said, that they seem pretty experienced. Would people agree with that?
Yes.
Awesome. So if you're using smart contracts, have they been audited? Not yet. To me, that's a red, but you guys, yeah, I'm interested to see what you guys have to say.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe they
Even
have
if
been now.
If we make it
Wow.
cautionary, then we're suggesting it's kind of okay to use an untested product, and an untested project. Now that obviously doesn't make their entire product red. It just makes that one category red. So I think it's fair to assign that.
Agreed.
It should also have the note that it said available after mainnet. So we're after mainnet, perhaps this answer's out of date.
Ooh, that's a good point. That's a good point to bring up.
But this is what we know right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's definitely more questions to be asked. Like, you know, what is this proxy contract? They do not hold funds. So why is there a proxy contract in the first place? What does it do? But maybe beyond the scope of this call right now.
So describe your staking setup. Do you have your own servers? If no, which hosting providers are you using? Which clients are you using? How many nodes are you using? Do you have some sort of redundancy built in? Has anyone checked out their website and their GitHub?
I have actually. So they are running their own validators and beacons and Eth1 nodes. And then clients, the users would be running remote signers. That's the setup.
So the blog actually, they posted this Medium post the other day, I think it was 2 days ago, and it has raised a few concerns from the engineering team and the research team. The outline of this post is essentially they're implementing their own minimum selection protection, and we reviewed it, and the Ethereum Foundation reviewed it as well, and we don't think this is crash safe at all. It could lead to race condition with the remote signer and the selection protection. So we're talking with Elon and the block right now to raise our concerns, and just to keep you guys updated and also keep this in mind.
So is that a yellow or a red?
I would say red for now until we further hear back.
Okay.
Awesome. So the next question is, who is invested in your business? Is there venture capital? Is there a token? If there is a token, what is it used for? So this is a good question. How do we red light, yellow light, green light this question?
This token relates to their staking pools, which I think is not launched yet. So I don't know, it's hard to evaluate it. It's not even released. They're saying Q3 21.
Oh, wow.
For a release date on that.
So maybe we skip this question. Do you guys agree with that?
For now, I don't think it applies to their current product.
Awesome.
Better to skip than to try to answer things we can't answer.
Agreed.
Right.
So how much are you charging for your staking services? We're just, this is another one that I think we should skip since we don't really have an answer for it.
Hold on. They've
Go ahead.
have updated it since.
Perfect.
And it's $180 flat fee per validator until transfers are available in phase 1.5 or up to 2 years after activation.
I wanted to come back to something from last call. I think we had said we're going to focus on stuff that is not a full node, mini stakers, right? People who have an ETH or 15 ETH or whatever, but not people who have 32 and could run a solo node. The current blocks offering is for someone with 32 ETH who's running a remote signer and basically just wants to hand the beacon and ETH1 to somebody else to run. So I'm not even sure that Blocks has two offerings, or will have two offerings: the kind of replacement for solo staking, and then the staker through contract thing, and they're very, very different. One exists now, and the other does not.
Yep.
Yeah, and we kind of just decided that we have the answers, so we should just press onwards.
Okay, fair enough.
Cool or otherwise.
Awesome. So, Superfizz, would you mind just scrolling a little bit to the right so everyone can be on the same page? Actually, that's the it, right? That's the end. So I think we're good. So I think we have now red lighted, yellow lighted, or green light all the.
Is $180 per validator. Does that make sense to everybody for up to 2 years of staking?
I don't know that we are. Are we having an opinion on price?
Well, if they were charging $5 for 2 years of staking, that would be questionable to me.
Fair
That's
enough.
Not enough, right?
Right.
I think 180 is enough. That it's actually covering their costs for the next 2 years.
Yep. Fair enough.
I needed to step out just for a moment. Did we highlight this final block for blocks?
We're still almost done. It seems like, Nolan, you're suggesting it be a green because it's reasonable, it's not exploitative, and it's enough to make it work.
Well, I won't evaluate like whether it's too expensive. I'm just saying it's expensive enough that it's a viable business. If it were $5 for 2 years, that's in my opinion not really a viable business.
I think we should just green light it as long as it's reasonable.
Yeah, green light makes sense to me.
Awesome. So now let's move to attestant. And if someone can help out Kirk in the chats as we move along, that would be terrific. So you guys want me to take the same approach where we read through them all and then we go through them one by one, or do you just want to go through them one by one? What I suggest is we go through them one by one. I'll read it out loud, and then we discuss, and then we rate it, and then move to the next one. I think it'll save some time.
Yep, I think that's the format.
Awesome. So attestant, what country is your business based out of? United Kingdom. Would everyone agree? Awesome. So are you confident that you're adhering to all the necessary regulations for the jurisdiction you are in? Yes. Equally important, we adhere to the necessary regulations for the jurisdictions in which our customers reside.
Now, the only difference here, that is confidence inducing for me, but we had discussed earlier about the need for terms of service. So, but we didn't actually ask for them. So he answered the question in a way that suggests that they're, if you know what I'm saying, like they're doing those things.
So what do you guys think? Do you guys think we put them as yellow and then ask for the terms of service? And once we get the terms of service, we turn them green, which is what we did with the first one?
That sounds like the most consistent and fair approach.
I agree. So yellow, and then we ask them for terms of service to get more information to turn it green. How much control do you have over users' funds? Do you hold 0, 1, or 2 keys? Our customers maintain control of their withdrawal keys, which provide them complete control over the movement of their funds as well as reward. We maintain control of the validator keys through resilient and secure threshold signing configuration. We do this so that we can offer a full service. If the customer had complete control of the validator keys, they would need to maintain the systems that looked after those keys to ensure their validations are signed, which would be against the idea of a staking service. Equally, if the customer had control of validator keys, it would be possible for themselves or third parties with access to their keys to create slashing events whose origin could not be ascertained. Our configuration ensures that we are responsible for validating and the customer maintains control of their funds.
I mean, this isn't my favorite setup as a crypto enthusiast, but I mean, this is what a lot of people want, and it's what their product is. So I think it's fair to say green as a staking as a service company.
That's something I also struggled with. Like my green standard is really only solo staking. And so if we're accepting that we are in this cautionary standard where you're using a third party, then recognizing that we're in a cautionary band, is this good within a cautionary band, even though it's not that standard of solo staking?
I mean, as far as staking as a service pools go, this is preferable to holding 2 keys, which I would say is more worthy of a yellow light.
It sounds green. Does anybody take issue with that?
Awesome. Next one. Do you have any insurance in case funds are lost? No.
Yeah, that's worrisome, right? So they're saying we have the best technology. We're not going to be like Staker and slash ourselves. But if we do, then, oh well, too bad, so sad. And understandable. I mean, I've looked at what custodial insurance costs. It's not pretty.
I can believe it.
So the question is, for anyone that says no, do we want to? And as long as we apply a standard fairly, it's not wrong.
Right.
If we say that it's yellow or red, I honestly, I would say that it's red because there is going to be middle ground, and this is not middle ground. This is simply don't have it.
Correct.
Which is not. It may be a common approach, but it's.
Yep. Yes, and attestant, I think in particular, is for people with more than 1,000 ETH. So maybe they have their own insurance, but I think it's a fair standard to say red.
And I'm going to make a note here that we're assuming this is the product for more than 1,000 ETH, when it could very well, they could present two products, and we would just need to disambiguate those at some point.
True.
Let me ask a question, if it's okay. In the context of red for that, which I think is fine, by the way, why wouldn't we want to, as a group called ETH Staker, we're not just ETH Staker ETH Staker staking services raiders, we're ETH Staker. As ETH Staker, if we define controlling all your own keys as green, why would we in the previous category decide that everybody who has their validator keys with a third party is green? Why wouldn't we just say, yeah, you're yellow? I mean, in other words, if you don't own all your keys, you're never green. And you're red.
Well, that's kind of the thing I was talking about that before. Like, we're talking about, if we zoom out, there are three tiers. There is solo staking, which is green. There is pooled staking, which is yellow. And there is exchange staking, which is red. Everything that we're discussing today, even though we're evaluating something that's out of category, is a yellow band. And so within that yellow band, we can assign relative ratings. So while we recognize that pooled staking is cautionary, this is good for that cautionary process.
I think that makes sense, because otherwise we end up with, no nuance anymore. We're just like, well, it's a pool, so everything's yellow.
I think it's very important to, when we get to graphically representing that we have those three tiers and show this in the middle with, so by default, everything here is yellow.
Okay.
So I don't even like what I said.
I'm not sure that it, at a user experience for somebody just coming to our site, which conceivably has more than just staking services, I think they're going to walk away with green. That's a nice, pretty vivid green I'm looking on Superfizz's screen. I feel okay about that. And I would just think that all the staking services that don't leave you in control of your validating keys would not be green. That's just my sense. But I'll shut up on that comment.
That basically leaves services where you that leaves blocks and Rocket Pool, I think. That's it. And it doesn't leave anybody who has less than 32 ETH, because there you will not ever have your validating keys. And maybe that's where we go.
Well, as we're developing our relational judgment, it may be necessary to come back and adjust.
Right.
Because it is all relative, and we have to get that relative judgment worked out.
Yep.
Awesome. So I think we're going to keep it green for now.
Quick housekeeping,
Yep.
if I may. It looks like we have 10 minutes left in this call. Are we going as far as we can and then come back, or what's the intent?
Yeah, so the way I agree, and I've been noticing that as well, what I suggest is we go as far as we can, and then even next week we continue on. This process is longer, which makes sense, though, because we want to discuss each answer. There needs to be, enough time.
Yeah. I'd love a discussion about one of the previous reds, which I didn't fully understand. But let's keep going.
Madison, I'd like to clarify what you said that we're going to leave that one green. Which field were you referring to?
I was referring to, because this is the one that Kirk pointed out. How much control do you have over users' funds? We're going to leave that green, despite it being it's definitely custodial, but that's what we're going to have it as green. And now, do we have any insurance in the funds? The answer no is still red.
I got it. Thank you. I was confused for a moment.
Yep. Sorry about that. What is your company's history in the cryptocurrency space? Attestant itself was formed a little over a year ago with its sole focus on providing Ethereum 2 staking services. The founders have many years experience in the cryptocurrency space, including significant work on Bitcoin. One of our team was founder of the multi-bit wallet and Ethereum, the Ethereal command line tool, ENS, ETHLink, etc.
It's a green for me.
Yep, same here.
Yeah, we've had incredible experiences with them contributing knowledge to the community.
Awesome. So green, I think we're all agreed there. Can move on.
Green for
Files
next
and
one.
links to the founders can be obtained at attestant.io/team. If anyone's checked it out, could you just update everyone here on what that looks like?
I have not checked it out. I do know just the same that Nolan has from personal experience, having dealt with Jim on many occasions, that and he actually described his educational background in one of our community calls. He is very well qualified to do the service that he's offering.
Awesome. So are we okay with giving it a green? No objections. We'll move on to the next one.
Yes.
Sweet. If you're using smart contracts, have they been audited by whom? No
It's an
smart
easy green.
Yep. Describe your staking setup. Do you have your own servers? If no, which hosting providers are you using? Which clients are you using? How many nodes are you using? Do you have some sort of redundancy built in? Attestant runs dedicated hardware in tier 3 and 4 data centers. Importantly, it has no dependency on cloud services. The infrastructure is designed to be highly resilient, with entities either simply redundant, that is to say, beacon nodes where multiple servers and different data centers are active at all times, or redundant through threshold. That is to say, signers where 2 of 5 signers can be unavailable without service loss. Attestant has built its own validator client, Vouch, to work with multiple beacon nodes for the highest levels of resiliency, as well as maximum responsiveness and optimum selection of beacon block proposals and attestation data.
So that all sounds great to me. It is maybe somewhat worrying that they're using their own validator client that hasn't received the same public scrutiny and battle
Right.
tested status as the other
Yep.
validator clients.
And I'm not sure whether Vouch has gone through its security auditing yet.
I think it's fair to, even though I'm optimistic, it's fair to make it a yellow.
Yeah, I think we need to find an audit or something, and then that's one of the ones we can come back to.
We should recognize that these are tentative findings in every case, and every one of these can be further informed and updated. So
That's right.
that's fair.
All right. Who's invested in your business? Is there venture capital? Is there a token? If there's a token, what's it used for? Attestant is privately funded. It has no token.
Green for me.
Same here.
Agreed.
Awesome. How much are you charging for your staking services? We charge 17.5% of rewards, the discount rate of 12.5% up to the first 45 days after Genesis for customers who wish to join us early for the staking journey.
Yep, that's right in line with normal pricing and will be enough to fund them. Can we go up one? There was a red answer I didn't understand. And then we'll be out of time once we've discussed that.
I agree. Yeah, but let's not go through another one. We'll save it for next week, and let's just review the one that you wanted to go through.
please, if you don't mind. If we just go up one.
I'm at block staking now. If that's what you're.
Oh, it's not visible on my screen. It's not updating. So blocks we set for the staking setup red. What was the reasoning behind that? What's the worry?
I'm sorry, is this the staking setup?
I don't see it right now on screen, but I think it was. I think there was a red on block staking setup.
Oh yeah,
I'll try and
so
stop my share and reshare.
I can chime in to it a little bit more. So the blog had this Medium post the other day. I shared it in the chat earlier.
Yep, I read it.
Yeah. So there was concerns coming from us and the Ethereum Foundation whether this their proposal is not crash safe. So
the minimal slashing protection. Okay, I gotcha.
The client crash, that there could be a race condition with the slashing protection and the remote signer. So we're asking them to provide more information. Also, we're giving them some of the concerns as feedback. So until we hear back from them, I'm tempted to put it as red. So
understood.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, this mechanism has been merged into the Prism slasher and into the remote signer. Okay. Yeah. Interesting, but it's not in the Prism validator client?
It's not. So Prism has a slasher as a third-party library, which we're not doing the best job at, to be honest. So yeah.
Okay, got it. Wonderful. Good. I understand. Thank you for clarifying.
No worries.
Terrific. So I don't think we should move on to the next one, purely because we're going to run out of time. For next week, if everyone can get here as soon to 11 a.m. as possible, and we're not going to do any introductions. We're not going to talk about any other topics. We're just going to open it up right where we left off and try to push through. With the goal being to get as many of these done as we possibly can. Would you guys agree with that?
Yes.
Well,
we have 3 new members potentially coming next week. It would be fair to give them or maybe.
You're right. Definitely. I agree.
Well,
so
just to play devil's advocate with that one, they could definitely watch the recordings and catch up and watch this one too. Just save time if we want to do that route too.
Well, I'd also like to point out that we got through 2 businesses today. We have 7 more to go. Maybe this is something we could take, just to Discord via text. Maybe we could nominate someone to use their own judgment and mark things red, yellow, green, and then we only discuss what we have a grievance with in their decision.
I feel like this is the meat of what EDDC is supposed to do, and for it to be completely public and transparent is of the most value. So to do that individually or in small teams asynchronously brings less value to the entire system.
Is there an asynchronous method where the input can be clear? I don't know. I don't want to design that, but it'd be like, here's a cell, and then here's beside it 13 spaces where different people can put their thoughts, but it's asynchronous because this route of getting only through 2 this week seems to be a challenge for us.
And I think the synchronicity brings value.
Mostly.
I'm just saying, at this rate, we'll be still a month out from getting this done.
Yeah.
So what if we try to do, what if we get one more meeting in this week? And if we try to do, so we have 7 left. If we have 1 meeting where we do 3 and 1 meeting where we do 4, that way by next Wednesday, we'll have all of these done. I know it's an extra workload, but it remains transparent and it does meet the goal of the organization.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I just think to wait another 4 weeks to get this done is not ideal.
Agreed.
Yep.
So I think we, if anyone, unless anyone objects, we take Superfizz's idea to get another meeting or 2 in there. I do think that it'll go faster in the future since we actually improved our efficiency as we moved along with this, as we figured out what worked and what didn't work. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to schedule 2 meetings for next week, and then we'll go from there. Does everyone agree with that next step?
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. Really appreciate your time. We did get through a lot. I know we didn't get through as much as we wanted, but it's good that we went over each of these questions one by one, and at least had everyone had the ability to put in their 2 cents.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, Madison.